Welcome to Wellness Wednesdays. If you're joining us for the first time, thank you. I'm Zawadi. I am your host for the evening and co-founder of Disruptor DAO. Please put in the chat where you all are from. At the moment, I don't see the chat, so I can't tell, but please let us know. We have others on our team that are looking at the chat. Once again, thank you. So we have another fabulous presentation this evening, and I'll get to that in a moment. Let's just go through some housekeeping rules. Please mute your microphones to avoid background noise. Always openly participate in our discussion. Do be respectful of others' opinions and questions. Our last 10 minutes are dedicated to questions and answers. However, keep those comments and questions coming in the chat. Disclaimer: this session is for educational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice or an endorsement of any product, service, or opinion. To protect the integrity and confidentiality of participants, we ask that you not share personal stories, experiences, or information discussed by participants in this session. All of our sessions are recorded and they are shared on Disruptor LLC's platform. By participating or viewing a recording, you agree not to infringe on any intellectual property or materials associated with Disruptor LLC and its counterparts. Unauthorized sharing, facilitation, or replication of the content presented here is strictly prohibited. A bit about Disruptor DAO. Our mission is to accelerate wealth building opportunities by strengthening mindsets and advancing education and investment in disruptive technology. We invite our allies to join us on this journey. Mindset. So if you've been here, you know that we have produced a deck of mindset cards. And if this is your first time joining us, this is what one of our cards look like. I am a trailblazer in the digital frontier. I am paving the way for others to follow in my prosperous footsteps. So we take these cards on a daily basis. We pull a card, just like if you were pulling a card from a tarot deck, and you visualize, you think about what's on that card and how it relates to you for that day. And then you can journal. Tonight's fabulous guest is Dr. Eve. Dr. Eve is a co-founder of Disruptor DAO. But before that, she devoted 30 plus years to advancing mental health as she pioneered school-wide mindfulness and resilience programs. Dr. Eve has impacted over 35,000 students, parents, and educators. She also served as a private practitioner and adjunct professor at NYU. Her visionary contributions have been published in various journals, and most recently, Journal of School Mental Health. She expanded her reach to corporate wellness, advising organizations on workforce mental health strategies rooted in mindfulness and emotional intelligence. So when you hear us talk about mindfulness, as we often do, you know that's Dr. Eve's forte. Areas of financial and mental wellness, she's likely burdens to emotional freedom and build wealth in harmony. Dr. Eve has been honored as Social Worker of the Year by the National Alliance of Social Workers in New York City and features in Oprah magazine for her trailblazing, heart-centered leadership in social work. Once again, as I said before, she's a co-founder of Disruptor DAO, and she has brought to us bridging mental health and financial well-being. And she continues that message. So without further ado, Dr. Eve, hit the stage.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So welcome everyone for joining us in this seldom talked about episode, Raising Money Smart Kids. You know, we don't often see these pamphlets in a waiting room or infomercials, right, on topics, on this particular topic, which is why we're so thrilled to have it this evening. So when we think about money, commonly, we think about how much of it we will need or build or own. But the truth is, wealth isn't just about how much money you can own, it's multidimensional. It's deeper than that. It's what you pass on emotionally, spiritually, and financially. This is why when we teach kids about money or wealth, it's not just about the mechanics of money. It's not where it's printed, how it's broken down from cents to bills, or how you'll even earn it or spend it. It's about how to help kids develop the right mindset behind it. And they're not going to learn this on TikTok. Remember, our children's money habits of tomorrow, they start at home. So when we start thinking about what do we teach, how do we do this, it starts with actually reflecting on our own money stories, right? Our kids don't just learn what we say, they absorb what we do, what we do about money, how we handle it. So before we can pass on these financial advice to our kids, it's important that we have to reflect on our own money beliefs. What type of messages about money have we been internalizing and displaying to our children? How are we operating? For example, do they see and hear us talking about intentional saving for a trip, a home, a car, a family event? Are they hearing us talk about the different ways we want to invest or wanting to learn how to invest? Are we actually feeling comfortable in their presence, whipping out those coupons in retail stores? Or do we shy away from it? What message does that give? Do we ask our kids to help us look for sales so that your savings could go even further? Do we celebrate filling up our emergency fund so that kids could understand the value of that? Or do we prioritize splurging despite high debts? You get where I'm going with this? What we say, what we do, how we respond, that's all valuable messages. So let's break the cycle of disempowering money messages. Again, remember, our kids don't just learn from what we say to them, they absorb what we do. So let's be intentional, the money messages that we want to pass on. And let's start talking about our kids from 6 to 12, right? That's where we really build the foundation. Here, what's the goal? The goal is to create early, healthy money habits. Now, the beauty of this age group is that they love visuals and small wins. It doesn't have to be so complicated. You'll be surprised how simple money jars can help them. It can help make simple money lessons valuable and real to them, right? Imagine your child wants a particular video game. And so she begins to put in her money jar monies from her birthdays, from allowances or earnings from chores, right? This excitement in seeing that jar get filled translate to an opportunity for what? For building patience, emotional regulation, and goal setting. And you're doing that. That's what's important. If you want to talk about needs and wants, what would that look like? It could be fun. Play the needs and wants games. Turn everyday moments into teachable moments. Ask your kids to sort the items from your grocery lists or magazines and divide them into needs or wants. How about modeling out loud things like, darn it, I really want those shoes. That looks really hot and they'll look great on my feet, but I have to pay 2 bills this month. So I'm going to can that and wait for tomorrow, for next month. I'll be patient. Or maybe even making small choices. What about if you give them a few dollars and you guide them into splitting it between what's needed, let's say school supplies, and your wants, let's say a small toy? You see how you can actually start encouraging a mindset that says there's needs and wants, and I could have both, but I have to have some patience. My piggy bank has to grow, and I have something to do with getting my wants. That's autonomy, financial autonomy. Let's go to our next slide. Teens is a little different. Teens, we're going to have to do some more lessons, hands-on lessons, right? Because here it's about equipping them to think critically and emotionally about money. And we can't separate emotions with money. That doesn't exist, right? Because we stress about money and we're eager to earn money and we're excited when we can purchase and make that first big purchase, and it's all related to it, but we want it to be in a healthy way. You see, teens are starting to form their own identities, right? And including how they see themselves as earners and spenders, but yet they still crave independence. They will still need our guidance. and we could be there for them. So let's connect their emotional world to financial decisions. And it's not just about the math, it's about developing self-worth and choices, guiding them now with real money scenarios. It's a gift. And yes, stumbling before they're in their 30s, it's important because when they start stumbling early, that means they'll do it less during their adulthood. And you know what? They could also bounce back faster. It's through these stumbles when they're 15, 16, 17, when they start exploring their first credit card and they start realizing, oops, I really got to pay all that now. What? An interest is that high? Or what? I have to pay $35 more because I forgot to pay it last week? It's trial and error. Let them pay it. Let them be responsible, and they'll be less likely to repeat those errors. So if you go on and we think about encouraging income with aligned purpose, what does that mean? It's really simple. It's encouraging them to earn, save, and build their own financial nest egg while doing things that they enjoy. Growing up, that, money doesn't grow on trees. You got to work 3 times as hard to try to make a living. Is that the messages we want to give? Or do we want to be able to create a mindset of ease and pleasure? You see, I think it's time that we start even realizing as adults, there are things that we can do because we all have skills and talents where we might possibly generate income. Why should our kids not learn that too? Pet sitting. I know several kids now that pet sit, and it's something that they enjoy, that they thrive in, and it's a connection. It's an emotional connection and joy. And then you have the cha-ching, you have the cash for it, just like capitalizing on any other skills that they may have. Teaching that now, helping them see that they can enjoy what they do and still earn from it, those are small wins now. And small wins equate to being able to have more financial confidence, savviness, and a strong sense of autonomy, just like raising awareness about passive income. Heck, so many of us use Amazon, but how many of us are reviewers? All you have to do is do one review, continue doing those reviews, and you get paid for it in your sleep. So even ChatGPT or these AI chat rooms can actually give you some tips on different ways that you and your family could learn how to raise and gain on passive income. So in our next slide, benefits of empowering teens. I think we could all have some general assumptions, but let's go a little deeper. We want our teens to see money not as stress, but as a tool for creating freedom and choices. When teens feel like they can handle money, they feel that they're more independent. They feel more secure. That confidence will serve them far beyond dollars and cents. It builds resilience and agency, and even actually minimizes early debt. So if you were having conversations with them, what would that look like? How can you empower them? Here's a strategy, something I used to do a lot with my kids, right? So say they want to purchase an expensive gadget, and in 2 weeks is a major holiday. At this point, it's Memorial Day, and pretty soon 4th of July. So what I would tell them is, first I would acknowledge the thrill of immediate gratification and having that gadget. I could understand that, but then I'll provide an alternative that's a win-win situation. I would say to them, well, and then explain, the waiting for a holiday sale equals an opportunity to buy and invest with the portion that they saved. That's encouraging what? Self-regulation and smart money habits. Or perhaps they might want to barter for services. I can do your braids and you can do my manicure. I can set a streaming service or game console for you, and you could give me a ride to the train so I don't have to pay for Uber, which of course fosters a sense of community, all while saving money. But here's the thing, folks, and really take this to heart. There has to be a balance as well, because not everything has to do or has to have a price or be bartered for. The act of donating time or skills, or the simple joy of supporting someone or a worthy cause, that is priceless because it builds empathy and it supports social emotional intelligence. You see all these wonderful things that we could teach our kids as they ride from preteen to teen to adulthood. We got this and we could do this. But be patient, because not all the advice that you will give, they will take. And not all they will agree with at that moment. But it doesn't mean that they're not listening to you. It may mean that some of these seeds that you're planting won't bloom till they actually become adults, 18, 19, 20, 21. But it's still stored there somewhere in the back of their mind. So now we're here, young adults, 19 to 25, where we're empowering financial independence with purpose, with ease. You know, by the time they're 19, many are already navigating adult money responsibilities, right? And are falling into a rabbit hole with online gambling or spending for emotional regulation. And that's what we want to try to discourage. And that's where the mindset really comes in, that they don't have to spend for happiness, that while maybe they're dabbling in some gambling, that they know their limits. This is why it's so important to start these conversations so early, because it can support healthy money habits and mindset. Folks, let's keep our kids, or let's help our kids rather develop a mindset that serves them, not hinder them. Let's help them so that they could have that mindset that says, I can build wealth doing what I love. I don't have to trade all my time for money. I can work smarter, not harder. Or my journey is unique, but I have to strategize and plan. I don't have to spend to feel good about myself. And acknowledge when you hear that, when you witness it, acknowledge it. That's positive reinforcement. Acknowledge the effort, not the outcome. That's a growth mindset. That's what we want to promote, the effort, so that it becomes repetitive, so that it could become healthy mindsets. And if we can share with them practical tools and emotional guidance, why should they not be able to have a positive mindset from all of that you're giving? So what do we teach young adults? What do we teach young adults who feel they know it all, right? Well, look, if your young people have already reached adult age, it's never too late to have these conversations. Heck, some of us in our 40s and 50s are learning these lessons now. And that's why I say it's never too late to learn, right? So if you've never invested before, learn together. Speak to your banker, ask questions, or perhaps your local community center or faith-based organization will be willing to offer to have a guest speaker come in and enlighten the entire community, not just the family. And there's a lot of free tutorials that are given by reputable financial institutions, whether it's Fidelis or Charles Schwab. And these tutorials are free. There's community programs like ours. There's our sister program, Journey to Wealth, which is also a great resource if you could look them up online. And actually, folks, if you have children in high school and you missed last week's episodes, I'm pretty sure you're going to want to visit our Telegram chat and look at the replay. We're also going to share the link, because last week's chat was on how to support your kids through college without losing your sanity or your home. So as we are soon concluding, remember this in tonight's episode: financial habits form young, help reduce future anxiety and emotional insecurity. And that's a fact, folks. Do you know that studies have shown that when children are not exposed to lessons on saving, spending, investing, or giving, they're more prone to struggle with developing, prone to struggles with developing financial autonomy as young adults, or developing money beliefs and habits that get them in debt. So which will generate more stress. And what does that lead to? It negatively impacts their mental and financial well-being and their physical well-being. So all these little baby steps that we take go a long way. Think of it this way: one day they're putting coins in the piggy bank, and before you know it, they're gaining compound interest on their savings. That's where we want them to be. So as we reach one of our last slides, something that's very important that we undermine is when we think about communication and what we communicate to our kids, we think of it as actual eye-to-eye contact and conversations, right? But sometimes what kids communicate is what you hear on the sidelines. So sometimes we have to have that extra ear open because we want to help our kids reflect and reframe misconceptions. There's a lot of misconception, even across adults of all ages, that having to save or having to budget means saying no to something that they want or saying no to themselves and they've worked hard. Why should they say no? When actually it's saying yes. It's saying yes to financial success when you can budget, when you can track, when you could put monies away so that you could have that financial freedom and ease. So if we have an example here, and I'll talk about compound interest in a second, but have you ever thought, and I do this a lot with my godchildren and nieces and nephews, right? For birthdays or holidays, I'll give them the option. Do you want a stock or do you want a gift card? A stock, that makes you a share owner of a company that you like, or do you just want to be a consumer? And when we buy a stock, it just means, or when we're investing in that company, for $25, it's a share, it's a portion. Why not? Why not let them know that they could also have ownership? If you want to help them invest, even as a minor, you could be the custodial until they are 18 or 21, and you pass that on to them. But let's take a look at compound interest and what that means. It's very simple. Let's say you saved $1,000 on behalf of your child. All of their birthdays, their holidays, special events for the first 10 years of their life. And now in their envelope, they have $1,000, right? And you park that in a brokerage account that yields just 10%, and you don't put a penny more. What does that amount to in 10, 20, 30, 40 years? And you might be saying to yourself, who would actually park something for that many years? Well, guess what? If you park it in something that's 12%, you'll be doubling that. If you park it in something that's more variable and it gives you more interest, and they are also learning how to invest in that startup of $1,000, you're talking about $500,000 or more, even with markets going up or down. So imagine you just gave your child that as an adult so that they could pay their home and to pay for their child's education. That's investment, and that's smart money moves. So in short, our last and most powerful advice here on raising money smart kids, it's the power of giving. Giving is a powerful part of wealth building. Giving teaches abundance. It helps kids say, we have enough and we are enough. So encourage them to donate just a fraction of their allowance, volunteer their time or skills, or support a cause that they love. This helps to generate gratitude and generosity and helps them use money as a force for good. And folks, that in turn, that type of energy of giving and receiving, it's a real thing. So when they give spiritually, they will get back twice fold. So let's empower kids with tools and guidance, not just dollars. Let's watch their self-esteem grow. Because we're not just shaping entrepreneurs or wealth makers, folks. We're raising grounded, generous decision makers. This matters because a financially empowered young adult is a mentally resilient adult. It matters because the short-term gains is not just adults developing confidence and creativity. It's a stepping stone to help them mitigate the number one stressor in America today: money, finances. So let's empower a mindset that forces sustainable wealth. And remember, you don't have to be an expert in finance and you don't have to be rich to raise money smart kids. All you have to do is be intentional, be reflective, and the battle is halfway there. So I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. And if there's any questions, you could put them in the chat or unmute, and I will turn it over to Sawadi. It has sincerely been a pleasure. And by the way, you're not going to miss, you can't miss next week's, because we're going to actually be talking about ways to earn that passive income.
Dr. Eve, thank you so much. So how are you feeling out there, audience? Did you learn something? Are you doing some of this already? Throw something in the chat. Amazing, great points. This has been such an awesome topic. Dr. Eve, summer is coming right on our heels. And if you live in New York State, our kids are going to be out of school. If you are in other states, basically your kids may already be out of school. So, what give one piece of advice that parents could look at to have their kids make money during the summer? I know you talked about a few.
Mhm.
If they're younger, they definitely can, depending on where you live, you could do the old lemonade stand, but
Mhm.
there's some other things you could do as well.
It's interesting because at this time, that there's some summer youth employment opportunities, but those, applications would have to have happened early on. But I would encourage parents to think of things that kids can do at home that they can earn an allowance for, or community service, because when folks are doing community service, it opens up opportunities for them to be able to have to meet folks that need a service that they may have, right? Sometimes it's indirect ways. So in doing community service, will build up their resume so that they may not be earning a money concretely right there and then, but that resume is invaluable because that resume and that letter and that application that they're going to fill out for a scholarship, ooh, will go a long way. Imagine being able to put, I did community service and I was able to volunteer and do X, Y, and Z. And if I'm leading a resume and and I'm hiring someone for the DAO, I would like to see who's done community service because that speaks to their mindset, their persona, their character. So even if they can't earn in assets at that moment, they can earn in many other ways down the line. And we have to teach our kids how to think this way as well.
Thank you. I'll throw one in. For those of us who live in New York City, the public libraries are always looking for young people to help other young people with their reading, and they offer tutoring. So that's an area that parents can look at when we talk about giving back.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on. Next for the DAO. Next week, monetize your clicks and opinions. We have Shana Hewitt to talk about what that is. And I know, Dr. Eve, you mentioned it earlier. If you're on Amazon, as opposed to just, ordering things, get on and create a video about what you bought, why you like it. You can get paid for those things. And on the 21st, we have Tech on a Budget. Transform your teaching with free tools. So we're still talking about things that young people can be a part of. You won't want to miss that. And the
Mm-hmm.
28th is our season 3 finale, Beyond the Panic, the Future of Finance. We have 3 organizations coming together to talk about the future of finance because this is a time that many people are panicking and we want to keep breathing no matter what's going on.
Absolutely.
Our merch. How many people in the chat have merch? Okay, I won't out you. But we've got a mindset and affirmation journal. And as we showed before, we do have our affirmation and mindset prompt deck. You can give them as a set. Get People are always looking for gifts, and people are always looking for ideas for gifts. So if the people you know in your hearts are writers, they like to journal, that would be an absolutely great gift to give them. There is a scan me QR code at the top. Oh, I forgot to say this earlier. Feel free to take a photo. And our Etsy link is at the bottom. And also, these links have been dropped into the chat. So don't worry if you didn't have time to get a photo, they're in the chat. Please join our community. We put all of our information on Telegram. We put last week's episode on Telegram, and it's also on our YouTube channel. We know we've been telling you it's coming, it's coming. And so we are now putting our content on YouTube. We've got seasons 1, 2, and 3. So definitely go to youtube.com at Disruptor DAO. And even if you're in YouTube already, because we can watch things from time to time, just put in the search bar at Disruptor DAO and we'll pop up. Our Telegram link is bit.ly/Disruptor Tribe. Do become a part of our Disruptor DAO community, or disruptors as we call ourselves. You can post your information, what's happening with your group. That we do post articles about money, finance, Web3, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, just so we can keep you all current. So we have reached the end of our presentation. We hope that you've enjoyed our speaker. We hope that you've enjoyed what we have to offer, and we look forward to seeing your beautiful faces next Wednesday for Wellness Wednesday. Thank you and good night.